Hi everyone, welcome back. It's Issa from As Told by a Widow, and we're still in my series on change and how the transitioning or the death of a spouse is the catalyst for change in your life. Because you do not remain the same person going through this journey. And change number one in episode 1 in this series, I spoke about taking on the responsibilities of my spouse and how doing that changed my personality a lot. And as I continue to research and search my journals and look through my books, the activities that I've done, the second most impactful change after my husband transitioning was coming to a resolve about death. Yeah. What does death and what does death mean to you? I did a series on the culture surrounding death. Those social norms. That was the name of that particular series on my channel. So check that out. So when I say taking death and defining it and determining that death, in my own words at this point in my life, that death is this natural promise. It's not a maybe, it's not an if, it's guaranteed. And it's not this horrible thing. It's not this horrible event. As, uncomfortable it may seem to some, depending on where you are on your grief journey. Let me take these off because I don't like that glare, you guys. Depending on where you are on your grief journey, it may seem eerie what I'm talking about. It may feel uncomfortable. And that's not my purpose. That's not the purpose of this channel. My channel is to inspire you and to keep you motivated to keep going, because you will and you are going to get through this. Okay? So, let me get started. I haven't always been at this point. My husband passed away or transitioned during a moment in both of our lives where our lives were transitioning, progressing to the next level as we had defined it. I was pregnant with our second son. We were in the process of actually closing on our second home. He had just recently been promoted, been in a new position for about a year or so. And I was out on maternity leave. And then boom, my husband passes away. I was like, what? From an illness I didn't even think could do that, you know? Because in my mind, and this is factual, we were a healthy and whole family. Actually, we were. My husband was. And when it happened, I was devastated. And I was angry. You know, all those levels of grief. I forget how many, I think it was 12 or something. But I really don't get into that. You feel what you feel, right? And over the first few years, I did not get counseling. And it wasn't because it wasn't available to me. Not that I did not understand the benefits of it. I just figured I can do it on my own. And honestly, and I shared this in a much older video on this channel, it was a way for me to, on some level, get back at God. Because I felt cheated, you know. Because I remember saying, I'm a good person, I'm a good girl, you know. So I didn't understand. And the beautiful part about it is that our God, source, universe, you know, whatever title you give, our higher source, our creator. And for me, it's God. And some days I call source. And I finally came to this resolve. Not on my own, but through experiences and having a relationship with God prior to my husband transitioning. And thank you God for being patient and listening to God. And God will not create anything that is hurtful or painful. As painful as giving birth, and I've done natural childbirth, but yet at the same time, it was so beautiful and wonderful. And I was about pain. I mean, it's painful. And it's beautiful all at the same time. And I'm here to tell you that death is beautiful. It's this natural promise that for me, and I encourage you to open your mind and your heart to what I'm saying. You don't have to receive any of this, but I just want you to open your heart and your mind up to ask yourself, what does death mean to you? You know? Because there's nothing that we can avoid. And for me, like right now, it's this natural promise and cheerleader and encourager that says, hey, celebrate right now. You know, just experience joy and happiness. Who had this shirt on? I think it was Tabitha Brown. And she has this shirt on. It's what it says, normalize positivity, I think. And that is so true. And I think we need to normalize death as an encourager to stay in the now, the present, you know. Speak your truth, you know, be kind. Resolve those issues, you know, if you can. Provide that closure for someone if you can, within reason, you know. And here's the thing. I want to tell you a few steps that got me here. Because it wasn't always like this, like I said. There's this sting of death. Because I was in so much pain, intense pain. I recall I cried so hard once that every muscle in my body, I mean, if I could have sweat blood, that was the day I did that. And it wasn't a week, the day after my husband passed away, or a week. I think this happened probably about 4 months after my husband passed away. By this time, I had already given birth to our son, our second son. And I had this moment, I was just missing my husband. And it was like every emotion that I can think of. That sting of death. All of it was just like a train wreck. Bam! And I just, I didn't know what to do. And I remember I just screamed. It was just so powerful, you guys. It hurted so bad. It was a sting of, I can only describe it as a sting because it wasn't just painful. It was like a bee sting. You know how a bee sting, that initial, like shock. And then the pain comes. And that's what it was like, a sting, you guys. That, if anything, I can help you get through that or avoid that altogether. Because I truly believe, had I got counseling very early, I may have avoided that moment of sting. Because professional counseling and being intentional on my healing would have helped me to bring together and to clear the fogginess. And I felt so fragmented after my husband passed away. And I'm a well put together person, but I felt like all over the place, emotionally, psychologically, you know, to the point sometimes you just feel like you're losing your mind. But you're looking good, you're showing up, you know, that, what do you say, that representative that you show everybody. But on the inside, I was so fragmented. The fog was so thick I could once I grabbed one piece and I'm trying to reach for it, I couldn't even see through the fog to find the other piece and put it together. You know, that's why it's important to get to a grief support system very early, because you don't have to go through that. But if you decide to take the route that I did, be encouraged. You'll get through it. But remember, there's no way around being intentional on your joy. And when you are intentional on your joy, that means doing healthy practices to bring you peace, to clear up that fogginess, to help you bring those fragments back together. And those fragments can be any and everything, or all of your everything. Okay? And when that moment when I went through, felt that sting, you guys, I cried so much, my eyes were so puffy. I mean, it looked like a eye injury, seriously. And when I finally decided that professional counseling is where I needed to be, and I began to be intentional on my healing, and as I journaled, I saw how I was changing, how things were really clearing up for me. It was. And I was able to pull those fragments, categorize them, and put them together where they belong. Even those new fragments, which were responsibilities of my spouse. So I have these new fragments I was now putting together, creating a whole new picture, a whole new self. That's that change that I'm trying to convey to you all. You're not going to come through this the same person that you were when this happened. And that is okay. So, it's not a challenge. I was about to say, I challenge you to take time, sit with yourself, a trusted family member, a trusted friend, better yet, a professional, and talk about death. Normalize it. You know, I've done so much research now on death that people are still afraid to talk about it. Seriously, in 2023, people are still afraid to talk about it. They're like, nah, I won't talk about that right now. Really? I'm not saying that it should be the key or the topic of conversation, but don't ignore it. Let it be this wonderful encourager in your heart space, in your subconscious mind that says, I think I will take that vacation. Yeah, I don't have anybody to go with, but guess what? I'm responsible. I'm going to take this wonderful vacation by myself, So determine for yourself what death means to you. Settle that, score with death for yourself. Place the death process in this beautiful space for yourself and for your family. And if you cannot, that's okay too, because like I said, I haven't always been in this space with death. And I truly believe if we normalize it and we use it for what it was created to be, as a fact checker of sorts, that hey, the other say, I'm still here. So make sure you're living your best life now. Okay? So yes, my second change was squaring up toe to toe with death and say, hey, I tried to beat you. That didn't work. I tried ignoring you. That didn't work. So guess what? We need to sit down and have a conversation. And that sit down was with my therapist, with my friends, and with myself mainly. Because you can do all the counseling, all the listening, and all the talking, but until you decide what death means to you, is when the change happens. And I encourage you, that's the right word. I encourage you, not challenge. I encourage you to take a look at death as this natural, beautiful promise that encourages you to celebrate life to its fullest. Because that's where I am with it. So I try to keep these short, and I'm over 15 minutes. So stay tuned for my third change. So I'm trying to do these every 5 days, okay? So in 5 days, you'll get the fifth one, the third one. And I actually have a second video. I want to talk about something, but I'll put that in a different video. So, but yeah, come out of this journey unchanged. All right? Be encouraged and know that you're going to get through this. And I love you all. And remember, anytime on this journey, when you feel that things are too heavy and things are too foggy or too fragmented, you pick up the phone. You call a trusted family member, a trusted friend, or your emergency services, or all three, because you are deserving of every access to healthy healing. Do you understand me? And your emergency services and your loved ones can get you to someone that can give you the help that you need and deserve. Because in this process, somebody loves you. Know that. And I love you. And you're going to get through this. So continue blessings. And remember, celebrate those accomplishments. Okay? So I encourage you to, sit down with them and have a conversation. Not of dread, because remember, it was created by the one that is the most beautiful, unconditional, agape loving being that created you and I, that created birth, also created the death process as well. All right. I love you guys. See you in the next one. Bye.